Good morning, guys. Good morning. Do I have my mic on me? You can hear me. Good morning. Good morning. All right. Hopefully that's a little bit better now. Good morning, guys. I hope you all are doing pretty well. I am just getting down here in the plant room. I haven't even had time to open up the blinds yet, so let's go ahead and do that. I was upstairs. I actually just filmed one of our long form videos that I'm going to be uploading pretty soon. Let's turn a little light on in here. Now we can see a little bit better. Yeah, I was doing a long form video, and what I did was I chose to switch the settings. So if you watch that video, you're going to see exactly what I did. Today, we're just getting inside of here, and we're going to figure out what needs to be done in here. I've been in here doing my watering. Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for stopping by. I did all my watering and stuff yesterday when you all was in here. So we really don't have much to do in here, but just to talk about a couple of plants. Ooh, how not to take it out. Hey Nicole, how you doing? Hey Deborah, thank you. Good morning. Yeah, I'm actually today going to be talking about our grow lights. I'm going to do a video detailing the exact specifications, but I'm just going to touch a little bit with today. I've been getting a few recommendations on possibly needing to upgrade my grow lights. So that's going to be a topic for another day of all the things that I'm considering to have for my plants. If you all do have some type of light recommendations, you can put them down there at the bottom. Nothing is wrong with these lights that I have. I just have so many plants that I believe now I need more lights, and I don't want to buy any more of these because it's just so many of them that it's going to take the beauty. I'm going to stumble and fall in here. Yeah, grow lights. So grow lights right here. So most of us inside of our house just don't have enough lighting for our plants to really grow. Actually, I talked about it. I don't want to give too much away in the video, but in the video I actually talked about how at the window, plants inside compared to being outside only receives 90% of its light. So just having your plant by the window can still not be enough. In most cases, your house plants, especially if you do your research on which ones are easy and beginner friendly, most of them will adjust for our lights though. That's just how great plants are. But yeah, grow lights is supplemental lighting that helps your plants grow, especially when your plant doesn't have access to a lot of light coming in from the window or access to any light at all. So you could hypothetically put a plant in your closet, and as long as you have a grow light and you giving it water, it could do fine. Do I suggest that to you? Absolutely not. But we can trust a grow light enough to do its job. Now, grow lights, when you're buying them, you do need to check to see how strong they can actually get. That has a lot to be measured. You can use a light meter. Are poinsettias inside plants or outside plants? I've seen them outside, but definitely they're being inside right now. I think those are one of those plants that as long as the temperature stays right at 70 degrees and it doesn't get any type of direct sunlight, they can be brought inside or outside. Now, this is the thing. I've never really seen people keep poinsettias past the holiday time. And I don't know if that's just because they're over the holidays and they toss it out or if they're a difficult plant to maintain. Usually every one that I buy of them, I just let them kind of just slowly die and just get rid of them. I'm not a big fan of them enough to keep them around the house, but I do believe they are a beautiful plant, especially now. You remember when they used to just be the red ones that you would see? Now they have them in all colors. And I actually said last year that if I do see the blue ones again, I was going to purchase them. I've been seeing them, but I just haven't brought myself around to paying the $23 for it, just for it to be a temporary plant. But we'll see. And also now I guess the more I get into this, it's just like, gosh, y'all are dying. The plant leaves this colors. Like it can't be too happy for the plant, and should I be supporting this? So I don't know. We'll see. If one stand out to me that's just rare, beautiful, or if I see a purple one, it's coming home. I'm just gonna have to put my view on painted plants to the side. But if you all have any questions or comments, still stick them down there. I will eventually get to them. Few of the things that I want to just talk to you about. One of the main things to talk to you about is moss poles. So it comes to the question on whether or not you want to grow your plant on a moss pole or if you want to grow it on a plank. Now, let me give you the difference between the two. Let's come on back here. This is my philodendron Royal Queen right here. We're going to use this one as an example. This is a plant that's grown on a plank. Now, could I grow it on a moss pole? Absolutely. The chances of it being able to take its nodes in the back and grow into the moss is going to allow for that plant to be able to grow another root system. And if I decide to cut the plant off, I can place it immediately into soil because I already have its roots to be acclimated. You know, a lot of times we have to do propagating because the plant just hasn't formed its own root system. So we won't have to worry about that. That would directly, it's called air propagating. And that's when you have a plant. Let's just use this for example on that plank back there. And right around here, you can actually see why I did do a little bit of air laying. I haven't been keeping up. Oops, we can just move this to the side. Don't want to drop that. I have been doing a little bit of air propagating. Let's bring you closer. And I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. Right here, you see this? This is when you wrap moss around the nodes, and the nodes are right here, these little bumps. When you wrap moss around them and then you use something like a graphing tape, it keeps the moisture in when you water it, and it's around sphagnum moss that's inside of there. That allows you to be able to propagate your plant. So as it's hooked up to the mother plant and still receiving everything that it needs, you're able to create its own root system. And then you just cut the plant off, put it exactly in a pot, and you're good to go. All right, hold on one second. I see a message. Be careful. Yes, I definitely had to be careful. Hello, hello. Happy holidays. Spreading love. Just wanted to say you are amazing to be around. We are all people, black, white, Asian, who cares? Keep showing positivity and let that smile show. I appreciate that. Thank you for being here. Let's move back here. All right, so that is on our wood plank. Now, the difference is I had to take moss, put it on the plank, and then wrap it around. Now, the benefit to that is I do not have to water the whole moss pole in order for that to hold some moisture in. Now, let me give you an example right here. This is my philodendron red emerald. I believe we talked about this plant yesterday, but since it's still out, let's just use it again. Here we are. Now, this right here is a philodendron red emerald. Very easy to grow. They're a favorite of mine out of the philodendrons. I love just how the color comes in. The leaves in the back are like a green. They start off as red, turn to yellow, then they turn to green. I just love when leaves just start off with one color and end with a different thing. This is being grown on a moss pole. Now, the difference is between this and that plank is that plank, I just had to spray water around there. This one right here, I have to water this whole moss pole because if I just try to water one little particular spot, it'll hold moisture in there for maybe 15, 20 minutes. But it's eventually going to travel all the way up and down until this whole moss pole is watered. Now, the benefits to this is every single node that you see on the back of this plant that's attached to this is going to grow inside of here. And most of the time, whenever I get to do any type of repotting on these type of plants that I have grown on moss poles, as long as I've been semi-consistent at watering my plants, whenever I cut these, it's always a root system going on back there. Now, this plant hasn't been able to form a real strong one. I'm pretty sure if I was to cut in here, it would be something in here. But this plant just got put on this moss pole probably about 4 months ago. That's when we started looking at the carrying needs for this plant, and that's when it really took off. This plant was half this size about 4 months ago. It really grows a leaf or really shoots up at least every 2 to 3 weeks, which that could be a lighting issue. If I was able to increase a little bit more light, it'll speed up because the plant increased double the speed just from giving it more light. So probably if I gave it even more light, it would definitely increase in speed a little bit more. Half size, goodness grace. Yes, for real. You can even see it right here. So the leaf get to this small leaf. This is where the plant was pretty much at. It was this small leaf and this right here. And that the plant was growing kind of slow. It had been pushed to the bottom of the shelf, so it definitely was getting the last little bit of light. I moved it on top of the rack that used to be in the back here that's now holding my monsters. I moved it on there and light, it was closer to the light and it was able to absorb it, and boom, it started taking off. So after I relocated it and moved it this time, I made sure that it gets a light, two of them actually, that's focused directly on it. So that way it doesn't feel left out. And you can see the results. I keep saying I need to go ahead and put a moss pole on here. And I'm thinking that if I don't do it today, that is going to be something we're going to do tomorrow on extending this. And you'll be able to see the difficulty again of having a moss pole of this type. To be clear, there are many versions of moss poles you can get. It's how big or how expensive do you want to go? That's the question. You can get ones that have support in them. You can get ones that only have moss to be able to insert at certain parts. I have some around here that allows you to just top water. You could put you something like a bottle of water there at the top and it'll slowly drain out and fill the whole reservoir of the moss up. Very easy, very cheap. You can get a 2-pack of them for $24. Now, I say that's cheap, but you get 2 of them and not just one. And how many people are putting plants on a moss pole that many times? You know, if you buy one, unless you have multiple plants like me, that second one, you're going to keep that for a long time. And if you're able to buy a product and keep half of it for longer than 6 months, I say that's a good buy. All right. So, again, once I extend this type of moss pole, that's when things get a little bit heavy. This moss pole isn't built to have enough structure to allow it to be able to climb with it being moist. Right now, as it's dry, it's perfectly fine. But soon as I put some water in here, that's when the weight's gonna hit, and that's when I do have tilting issues going on, which is why I selected the plant to be up against the wall. If I do that, I can put an attachment there and tie a string around here, and I don't have to worry about the plant balancing because it's flat against the wall. So paying attention to where your plant can best thrive is very important, because if I stick this thing on a dresser, it's over for it. Let's put this one back. Make sure I didn't miss it. Let's talk a little bit about watering the moss pole. Now, when it comes to watering the moss pole, see this right here? This is gonna save you a lot of time. It was $59 when I bought it. You know, everything hit a price surge and went up. And I don't even know if this brand is still around. It's called TOVI, and it's an upside down V. All you have to do is just type in automatic water sprayer and a list of them will pop up on Amazon. I just did it 2 days ago, so I know it's fine. I haven't seen one that has this long spout on it, but as long as it has some type of spout on it, when you push the button, you'll be fine. Trust me, this will save you a lot of time. I know it looks good and it sounds good to go to the store and spend $5 and get you a hand spray. Well, it depends on how many plants you have. If you have just a few, by all means, that your hand is going to be able to handle it. But in here, no, that's not going to work. I have tried it with half of this amount of plants and completely gave up and said, you know what, this is going to work. Because I was watering my moss poles. And that's another thing. If you don't build a system in your plant room to be able to really outwork you when you're not feeling like giving it your best, you're not going to be able to do good. So when you're feeling lazy, having something like this can really knock it out. Now, if you get something like this and still choose not to water it, I mean, that has nothing to do with that. And I know the other day I was saying that I had went to the store and I had picked up some of this neem oil and I was going to talk about it. If you don't know what neem oil is, it's really healthy for your plants. It really makes them shine. That also can help a lot with just your plant being pest resistant too if you mix it in with something else. Now I love the way that it makes my leaves look. Make them look healthy, even though they are, but they give it that little bit of shine and they make them to be photogenic. You know, I love taking pictures to put on my Instagram, so that's what I use it for. Very healthy. It is organic, so you're going to be good to go with nothing to worry about. Now, if you mix this in with some, not Bonner's, might be Bonner's peppermint soap, mix those in, it will give it a nice pest resistant, smell good, the peppermint, and you have a nice little shine to it. Now, I talked about it before. They do have a product called Leaf Shine, and that works pretty well too. However, I just believe in some warm water with a little bit of oil in there and a little bit of peppermint soap just does a much better job because it makes it shine, but it doesn't make the plant feel oily. It's a big difference. But I am going to show that to you because I have wiped my plants off before and it just didn't give me the shine that I wanted. And I added a little bit of that to it and it really made it nice. I wasn't worried about it being too oily or anything because I still have my mix to take care of that. But I'm going to show it to you. It's Miracle Grow Leaf Shine. And we can turn over here a little bit. I'm not scared for you to see this side of the room. Boom. That's the Leaf Shine. Now this stuff works pretty good. Runs you $7.98 to $9.99, I believe now. It's been a long time since I bought this. A little bit goes a long way. It's not like I'm in a rush to spray every single one of my plants in here with this. So I just use it sparingly. All right, and some of the things that you could be doing while we are in here that I have been on the lookout for. You do know that with the weather changing, a lot of us have air that's creaking through our windows that we're just completely unaware of. Maybe we're not factoring in our plants are receiving less light in the day as before. Yellowing of leaves isn't uncommon and you shouldn't be panicking about it, okay? I go around here and I do see a couple of yellow leaves on here. Now, you do need to be worried about it. If you have yellow leaves on it today, you go tomorrow, you see it, and the day after that, you see more, okay? Because that's just not a regular issue going on that the plant leaf is getting old or it's just making a little bit of adjustment, it's just stressed. A lot of times our leaves, the leaves coming off is just the plant getting rid of sickness. That's how I look at it and I keep it moving, okay? Now, a lot going on and you have to worry about it. But it's completely normal. Again, I haven't switched up anything as far as fertilizing my plants or feeding them. Um, I've noticed that I've been having to give them a little bit more water than I've been giving to them. I don't know if it's the move that's getting them closer to the window. I don't know if it's dealing with the dry heat or so forth, but every environment is different. That's why I can't tell you to turn the heat up in your house or to move your plant around the left part of the window or to adjust. Like you just have to feel it. Just imagine you being a plant and you want as much light as you can without the sun coming in beating you up. You want a nice sip of water when you're thirsty. And when you start to catch a cold, you just want vitamins. Think of it like that, okay? And as you get older, your body starts to grow, so you need bigger clothes and you get in a bigger pot. So just think of yourself like that when you're caring for your plants. And never just assume that an issue going on with your plant is just going to work itself out and go away, okay? Usually, before we start seeing the issue going on with our plant, it's already a lot of stuff going on with our plant inside the pot, okay? So just keep that in mind. We don't want that to be our last result is, oh, we need to do something or I'm going to get to it when I get to it. Go ahead and get to it now because it's already been a problem for a long time. You just was unaware of it. And I do want to show you all this philodendron orange marmalade. I believe we was talking a little bit about it yesterday, but I did not show you the new leaf that's unfurling. You see the orange in here? Look at that. The cool thing about this is that this leaf is going to come out like a orange, burnt kind of reddish, and then it eventually fades down to these green colors. And I almost lost us, guys. And while we're here, let's go ahead and do a look through the plant room. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask me as we're going through, as we get ready to wrap it up. That moonlight is really starting to take off now that it has that window. And after doing some watering yesterday, I definitely saw a lot of these plants wake up. Now, I guess I gave this plant a little too much water and it's just trying to get rid of it. Now, that's one of these plants that I talk about with pots that you don't want to be guesstimating pots. This is one that doesn't have any holes at the bottom. So I just have to guesstimate how much water to put in there. And you playing games when you do that. Nothing really interesting going on over here. These plants are fine since yesterday. I did give my strawberry shake. Sorry. I did have to give that one some water and it's still waking up. Oh, that leaf has completely unfurled over there. I actually had to help this one out. I had to spray a little bit of water and pop the leaf some just to get the unfurl. If you see a plant, especially a philodendron during this time of the year, you see it just really seeming being stuck and it seems like it's been sitting there for a long time, then give it a little bit of help. Sometimes it's a moisture issue and that leaf is just stuck. Spray it a little bit and spread it. Now, when you do it, you might hear a little bit of popping noise, but that's just because it's kind of sticky. And look at this. Plant that got so daggone heavy and it fell off the wall and hanging there. Okay. All right. And I'm going to check to see if we have any comments down here. All right. And I have about another 5 minutes, so I'm going to leave the floor open. If you have some questions, go ahead and ask. If not, I'm going to turn on a little bit of music and do a little bit of cleaning in here. You know, a lot of times this room gets pretty when I'm just trying to take pictures out. One plant, and before a bottle of water here, I'm walking in here, and the whole purpose of having it open is so that way it's nice and it's clean. And usually when my room is cluttered, it's usually everything that's going on is cluttered inside my head. So to be able to get here and get this kind of spread out, the only thing is about the room looking so clean now, I see space, and when I see space, I try to fill it. And I really just know that these plants are going to get to be absolute monsters, and so they need all the space that I have. I actually don't have all the space that I need if half of these plants really wanted to full grow. The three Monstera Thai constellations, y'all know those get to be about this size, and I have 3 of them. So that's what we're saying. So I'm not really in a rush to buy any more plants. Now I do want a Monstera Ari. I have been wanting one of those for a while now. I did get a Monstera Albo about 3 months ago as a gift, so I was happy I did not have to go and spend that money. It's actually time for me to do a repot. I said it yesterday, and you know what? I really do think that it's 11:54. I will have time to be able to do a repot on this plant. I'm going to show you some of the stuff that I'm going to use to do the repot before I do it. First, my repot is going to consist of this, okay? Monsteras love a mix that that can hold on a little bit more moisture. You know how I feel about the chunky mix. I like to give it a little bit of perlite. That size 3 is a little bit bigger. It helps a lot with drainage. Orchid bark, and then some indoor potting mix. Well, this stuff right here is going to work pretty good because this does have a pretty decent amount of soil mix in here already. And I may add just a little bit of perlite to it, but I don't want to give it too much because this has the perfect amount of orchid bark too. I think that this plant is ready. And I believe that if I go ahead and get to that root, if I go ahead and take these out and actually get into some soil, I think that this plant's going to really take off, and then the leaf will go ahead and break away so we can get some unfurlment. But I think it's a little curled up right now because it's like, dude, where's my moisture at? I need some type of support. I don't have no nutrients going on. I don't have anything. You just gave me some water and stuck me in here and dried me out for all these weeks. So I think that's going to be our next task to do on here. I'm going to get it in this right here is a 4-inch pot. So I'm definitely going to get it into either another 4-inch pot or a 6-inch pot. I just have to get in here and see how it looks. If it has more than just these few little roots, I don't know if anything is in behind it. If so, I'm probably putting it in a bigger pot because I know that monsteras just can grow that fast. But if this is pretty much the root system that I'm working with, this will be a perfect size for it. Because you don't want to be in a rush to repot your plant into the next size or that pot so fast, because when you water it, it's going to retain that water, and that's when you're going to deal with root rot. And usually, before that sign of root rot comes, you start seeing gnats all around your pot because that moisture just isn't able to go through. That comes a lot from when you buy a very cheap indoor potting mix. I'm not in your pocket or anything, but if you're buying like the Family Dollar brand, I have seen another one too. I'm not knocking the brand. I'm knocking what's inside of the mix. It just isn't good for your plants. It just doesn't have enough aeration going on. And I believe you can go outside and just get some dirt if you have some brown dirt and mix it in with your plant. And as long as you're giving it nutrients it needs, it'll be fine. My dad did that with his pothos that I gave him. I was like, Dad, you repotted your plant? He was like, yeah, I just used some dirt from outside. Would I recommend you doing it? No, but it does work. And after all, plants come from outside. You know, it was just being able to buy it in the bag is because nobody's going outside picking up their dirt. And if you're from the country like I'm from, we didn't have dirt, we had red clay. So it won't like we was able to get anything for our plants anyway. But anyway, I'm really just looking forward to doing a repot on this. You know what? Let's see here. Can we see this? All right, guys, so it goes like this. I was going to go ahead and get off of here and do a repot, but I see I do have 2 people in here. Now, if you all are going to get off, I can go ahead and get off and do this. But if you're here, just let me know if you want to see me do a repot on this plant. I could do it right here in front of you for the next 5 minutes. But if I'm just going to be talking to myself, then I could just hit record, do a video, and I could share it with people later. But y'all get first dibs on it since we're here. And I wonder if I can do an edit out the video that I do here for that. You think that'll work? That we could do the repot here and then I could share the video later for somebody who might want to learn? Just let me know. But it is time for a repot. It definitely is. And I need to first find another pot to make sure it's good. And I wonder if I put the pot in a elongated pot. I would have to go to the store to get that because monsteras are crawlers. So I could do this alone. That would really be good. I don't know if they're Home Depot don't really carry a small size pot. And you know, that's one thing. My local nurseries, they have plant stuff, but they don't really have a lot of pots for you to be able to put your plant in if you think about it. Long pots. You gotta get all of those offline. I don't know. But anyway, guys, I think what I'm gonna do is go look for the pot and get all the